the streets are saying that the documentary was better than the massacre, which it is.
If you was in the studio with Dr. Dre,
If you worked with Dr. Dre on his Smash production for a year straight, why would you need 3 songs from me with him? I didn't dislike him. It was just one thing he said one day that made me angry. The streets are claiming that the documentary was superior to The Slaughter, which it is. Since the game was publicly fired from Unit by 50 in 2005, more than 100 disc records have been released in what is quickly growing to be one of the longest feuds hip-hop has seen. The rap world is trembling as this feud with a history drenched in animosity takes a fiery turn once more. Hold on tight, people, because this feud is about to ignite the hip-hop scene like never before. When Unit under the helmet of 50 Cent made the decision to trade the massacre for the game's debut masterpiece, the documentary in 2005, a seismic shift in hip-hop history occurred. This wasn't just a label swap, it also served as the catalyst for a feud that has been raging for almost 2 decades. The West Coast slid off the streets as I was asleep while listening to music after Weapons. In a riveting interview with Vlad TV Tony, you recently revealed a connection between this feud and something deeper than rap rivalry. It all circles back to Jimmy Henchman and his vendetta against Chris Lighty, a legendary figure in the music industry. According to Tony, Jimmy was the record executive who worked behind the scenes to instigate the conflict that gave rise to the feud. Jimmy's henchman, the mastermind behind Czar Entertainment, also oversaw a network of musicians, including the game. I'll tell you what the poison was, Jimmy's henchman. Do you believe that was the AIM man's least favorite? The game's radio appearance sparked long, simmering tensions with Gunnett as his avoidance of 50 Cent's conflict sparked a seismic clash on February 28, 2005 during a Flex interview. 50 Cent seized the airwaves to promote his upcoming album, The Man Massacre Yet To. Interview Tony revealed that Lighty had many great artists signed to him, so he was a sore spot for many people in the industry. The documentary saved the game from obscurity, and 50 Cent showed off his influence by taking credit for doing so. This was a turning point in hip-hop history that eternally cemented his rivalry with 50 Cent. The streets are saying that the documentary was better than the massacre, which it is, and 50 got jealous and kicked me out of G on any taking his response to the next level. The game went on to elaborate that he was determined not to follow the same path as J. Rook. The game borrowed a page from the playbook encountered by granting an interview with Tim Westwood in 2005 during this broadcast. The game was blunt in his criticism of his former companion's possessive behavior, suggesting sarcastically that someone braid 50 Cent's ponytail and make him wear his skirt once more. 50 is a jealous little girl, man. Is that what happens? He is jealous, and someone has to put him back in his skirt and braid his hair since he is obviously not impressed by 50's activities. Because the unit has fallen, and I've dropped 300 bars since the rapper departed the scene, the game implied that the rapper had lost touch with reality. I know you heard it, insane, but Unit is now beginning to disappear in the US as a strategic response to the game's vitriolic abuse. Jabs during an interview, 50 Cent used a different tactic to damage his rival's reputation by revealing a secretive element of their musical partnership. I liked 50 Cent enough to write 6 recordings again for his project, continuing his deliberate method despite his stunning revelation that he had been the driving force behind some of the game tunes, working from the shadows to mold his music. In order to further his narrative, 50C took advantage of a weak point and used it to illuminate the source of their hostility. I like them that much I feel like I can resolve the situation with him. It didn't hate him. It's just one thing that he said one day that upsetted me. The tension escalated beyond the airwaves and into the real world when the game responded to 50 Cent's comments with a physical move following. 50 Cent's interview the game went to the same radio station seemingly intent on addressing the situation directly, so 50 and Lloyd Banks Tonyo, they didn't want to come downstairs because they were scared. Had the whole black Wall Street with me, however, the altercation resulted in the injury of someone from the unit. Although when 50 Cent was asked about the incident, he simply denied knowing anything that was on the radio. So right, I don't know what happened downstairs. You know what I mean? He even sidestepped the shots question while he was at it. You know, shots got popped, is that correct? Yeah, that's what they said, that's what they all hip-hop. Combs said even if 50 was sleek about it, the game provided a raw and real-time account of the incident. He explained that the shots were a direct result of the heightened tension caused by the presence of security officers allegedly sent by 50 Cent, and they were so intimidated that they pulled out guns and my guys start walking towards the doors, and they start shooting at the ground and shots get it up hit my man. And however, in a surprising turn of events, the game later confessed during an interview with Larry King that he was in fact the instigator of the altercation. He openly admitted that his youthful impulsiveness and lack of maturity had driven him to initiate the conflict. There was a riff, we had a shootout. In New York in front of a radio station who drew first on the game. Reflecting on the nature of the hip-hop industry and its inherent competitiveness, the sentiment resonated with the backdrop of his ongoing beef with the game, shedding light on the underlying factors had contributed to their rift. 50 Cent spoke on the dynamics of rappers and their need for autonomy. He observed that some artists are so driven by their competitive spirit that they find it difficult to coexist within a team setting. Having mapped out his future after joining the game, he noted that some rappers are so competitive that they can't be around a part of a team. The game's perspective on the events changed significantly as he expressed joy and contentment. He also expressed excitement about the new direction he was taking, saying that it was somewhat of a struggle now that he was on his own. In an appearance on the Game podcast hosted by Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, I recently said I'm really feeling like 50. During the meeting, the Compton rapper discussed his history of conflict with 50 Cent in Gwinnett and revealed a startling revelation. He had been given a generous $1 million offer to stop using the word "goonot." This offer was made in recognition of the phrase's negative influence on the apparel line 50 Cent's Gwinnett's sales. Many people are unaware of this, but 50 and Jimmy Iovine gave me $1 million to stop saying you not. They wrote me a check and bought it, and you remember when I was going around with a rat and doing all that hurt gun it, he recalled during the interview, adding another layer to their tumultuous past. According to 50 Cent, he stepped in to write for the game and even appeared in some of his early tracks. He had to step in because the game's apparent lack of songwriting ability was a problem. If you were in the studio with Dr. Dre working on his hit production for a year straight, why would you need 3 songs from me to start your album? He claims, adding that even Dr. Dre recognized the need for his involvement to advance the game's career. A fan wisely observes that a close examination of the songs in question might offer a clue as to the veracity of 50 Cent's claims. I suppose he wrote the songs because they have a different style, and he references ghostwriter in Had It or Love It. If you listen closely, you can hear the game suppose 50 and not the other way around. Similar to how Ice Cube signed numerous NWA songs and Eminem signed a verse he penned for Dr. Dre, 50 put his name on those tunes. The game and 50 Cent fight has been going on for a while, and it doesn't seem like it's going away. The Compton rapper expressed his feelings clearly at a recent performance at the Legends Only concert at the bar